Today, I want to welcome back our residential AI expert, Ethan King. Ethan, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, always great to be back.
All right, as usual, AI is moving fast and furious, and I know there have been some recent updates to it. I just got your latest updated book. So, if you could just tell me about some of the latest updates, and there's a few that I have some questions about, but can you just give us a little quick rundown on some of the latest updates?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, the book is ChatGPT to double your business in 90 days. If you don't already have it, go grab a copy. It's on Amazon or you can get it at ethanking.com. If you get it at my website, ethanking.com, first of all, it's cheaper than Amazon, but also whenever I update the book, it automatically comes to your inbox. So that's what Monica is talking about. The digital version just pops right in your inbox immediately. So you're always up to date because AI changes so fast. If you got the book somewhere else, like on Amazon, or you got it at one of my workshops, then just flip to, I think, like page 4 or early in the book. There's a QR code you can scan to get the free updates. So with this version, lots and lots of updates. First of all, this this version came out a day before ChatGPT 5 dropped. So ChatGPT 5 is obviously a huge, huge update. It's not in this particular version. It will be in the next update, which is coming very, very soon because I've been playing around with ChatGPT 5 day and night. And if you know anything about this particular book, the reason it's doing so well in the business marketplace is because these are practical business use cases that I've either implemented for our own businesses or for my clients. So I could give you 1,000 different apps and use cases that of cool stuff that AI could do, but this has been filtered down to give you actual practical things that you can do in your small business. So I'm doing that work for you.
And we appreciate that. And that's why I always love to have you back. Okay, so one of the latest changes that fascinates me is AI agents. I don't understand those,
Yeah.
but I know I don't use them yet. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think it's supposed to help us in our work.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it is a huge leap forward, and it can sound daunting to people, to the average person, but an AI agent is almost like I like to call it a digital employee. Some people might call it a bot, but it's something that takes action for you. So you know how ChatGPT is really cool. Like you can go in there and it can give you like text and social media and blogs and articles. It can write things on your behalf.
Yeah.
Well, an agent, when you go to ChatGPT and go to agent mode, which is a new feature, it can actually do things for you. So anything that a human being can do in a web browser, ChatGPT can do for you. So what it will do, you give it a set of instructions and it will open up its own little tiny web browser and it will actually move around and click on things and type in things and do whatever you told it to do. And it will only stop when it needs input from you as the user, meaning it needs you to put in a username or password and log into a website, or it needs you to put in payment information. Or if it gets stuck and it gets confused, you didn't give it clear instructions, or maybe there's something blocking something on the website, it'll let you know when it needs you to help out. But aside from that, it is fully autonomous and it will do things on its own, anything that can be done in a web browser. So this is very powerful because if you think about something that you would have an intern do or your assistant do that can be done in a web browser, whether it's booking flights or a rental car or doing data entry and copying, pasting things and creating a website, a spreadsheet, ChatGPT can now do that for you. So that's why agents are such a big deal as we enter what people are calling the agentic AI era.
Agentic. Okay. So how have you used an agent? Because I'm sure you've played around with it. Well, how have you used it?
Well, one of the main things I did, one of the first things I did was for data entry. So there was one website where I needed to get a bunch of contacts, names and email addresses from one system over to another system, to a spreadsheet. And these systems were closed off and protected by a login. They were behind a login wall. So it's not something I could just hook up and automate like through Zapier or something like that. So instead of me sitting there, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, like a human would do, or instead of me having our assistant do that, I had ChatGPT do it. I said, go to this website, copy each one of these contacts onto this spreadsheet. And it just sat there and I watched it do it back and forth. And you can let it run in the background. And it took a couple of hours, but it doesn't matter. I was off doing something else.
That's wild to me. That's absolutely wild to just kind of see it working and then you're
Yeah.
doing something else. Now, I know another change that was on the list is study mode, which fascinates me because we have a high schooler, and I know she uses it a little bit to create tests for herself and things like that. But how has the new update changed study mode or implemented study mode?
Yeah. So OpenAI is really positioning itself to be the dominant player for the everyday user. So I think this was brilliant of them because there's so much criticism about AI where schools will just block it or like don't use it at all because they're scared of it and what because people will misuse it. So I thought it was brilliant that ChatGPT released study mode so that instead of AI giving you the answers, you can tell it, give it your subject and have it quiz you and have it ask you things to make sure that you're learning. So this is a great use case, not just for your kid practicing and doing their homework, but you could also use this for training employees, for training team members. You could upload your SOP, your like make a PDF of your user manual for your business of your standard operating procedures, put that into ChatGPT and say use study mode, and then have a team member sit there and it can interact and ask the team member questions instead of just giving answers.
That is absolutely crazy to me because I can remember maybe 8 or 9 years ago, we actually created tests for different areas of our SOP, and it took us hours to put these tests together for team members to take for each department. And now I'm sure it does it in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and it will do it in a way that's conversational and more logical probably than we would have thought of for the questions that we were asking. So I think it's a great move forward for ChatGPT and for getting AI to be more widely adopted and for people not to be intimidated or fearful of it.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a more positive use of it for students versus, like you said, school saying, no, you can't use that, and being afraid kids are going to plagiarize and things like that. So I love that, especially for those of you out there who have kiddos and they may be curious about ChatGPT, perhaps having it help them with homework would help you. Or at least for me, like Imana comes to us sometimes showing us these math problems, and I'm like, I hadn't did this since a long time ago. I have no idea, and I'll probably teach you wrong anyway. So
Right.
that's really good. Okay, so one of the things that I've been curious about, and I don't know if this is necessarily a new update per se, because I've heard you say the words before, but you've talked about deep research. What's the difference in me going into ChatGPT and putting in a prompt versus deep research?
So deep research allows ChatGPT to think longer and deeper, scour the web more to give you a comprehensive report about something versus the fast mode where it will just give you a quick answer, or it might even just tell you it doesn't know, or it might just make up something if you have it on the faster mode.
Okay.
So up until now, so with ChatGPT 5, as of right now, today as we're recording this, August 11th, they got rid of all the other versions and they only let you choose ChatGPT 5 Thinking or Pro. Now, a lot of power users like myself, we liked those other versions where I liked where I could choose O3 or O3 Pro or 4.0 because you had different use cases for each one of them. But again, OpenAI is trying to appeal to the broader market, so they want to simplify it, make it more simple. It's like I don't want to have to burn mental calories thinking about which version to choose. It's just ChatGPT 5.
I
So
agree.
with that said, when in the latest version of the book where it talks about choosing your model like O3 was the research model before ChatGPT 5 came out. So now ChatGPT 5 has your thinking model. And what it will do Or a great use case for business. Let's say that you have a sales call with someone, a prospect who you want to close and book them, say, as a coaching client or something like that. And if this person has a footprint on the web, then ChatGPT can gather a lot of information about them. So one thing I like to do before I have a call with someone is do deep research on that person. Have ChatGPT do deep research on Monica Allen, for example. Find out everything you can about her personal life, her business life. Try to assess her personality type. Tell me like what's her brand voice, her speaking style. How does she like to be communicated to? And then it'll give you ChatGPT. It might think for like 30 minutes and go and scour the web, and it'll go find your podcast transcripts and things you've posted on LinkedIn and Facebook, any public information out there about you, your book, things like that, and it will give me this comprehensive report about you, and then I'll have it contrast that with what I want to talk to you about. So if I'm trying to pitch you on something, it'll give me pointers and say, hey, if you want to pitch Monica on AI implementation services for her business, approach it like this. That will really resonate with her because of blah, blah, blah. So it'll give you a personalized playbook for these sales calls. So that's one of the main ways that I use deep research. I also use it when I'm doing a keynote presentation or a workshop. I will tell it who's going to be in the audience so that it can tailor the answers, tailor a report for me so I can best prepare for that keynote and customize it as I need to in order to give the audience the best results.
That's really cool. All right. Well, first of all, you should know everything there is to know about me at this point. Um, but that's really, really cool. I don't think I have a need for that piece just yet. I'm not really pitching people. I don't know. I have to give that some thought. But I'm sure there are people who are listening to this podcast that could definitely use the deep research around people or companies or whatever you're doing. So thanks for sharing that. Another update that you mentioned was building an app. And I think there's probably a lot of businesses or small businesses that may need an app for something, but just have never known where to start. How does that work?
Yeah, this is probably the biggest improvement with ChatGPT 5 is that it's gotten so much better at what we call vibe coding. And vibe coding is just the kind of the fancy term that people are using right now to say anyone can code. Anyone who's not a computer programmer, people like me and you can now code with just vibes. It's like, hey, I wish there were an app for this. And you can do it in a prompt in ChatGPT 5, and it'll actually build your app for you right then and there. And it will walk you through how to actually make it usable, make it live. So it could be a website that you want to build. It could be a game. It can be an app that works on your desktop or in a web browser. Or if you want to make it into an iPhone app, it'll tell you the steps that you need in order to get it live in the App Store. But what ChatGPT 5 is strong on is what we call one-shotting, where it is really made huge advancements in you can just type in one prompt and it will create an entire game just off of one prompt or an entire app just off of one prompt. So the reason this changes everything is because before, if you wanted to build an app, then that might mean $100,000 to a developer to build that app for you in months and months and months of time being committed to building that app. But now it's maybe 20 minutes and your cost is zero, or the $20 a month that you pay to ChatGPT and maybe a couple of other tools. So this really is a revolutionary enhancement in AI. And I think we're going to see more and more coders people who are everyday people coding applications, either for personal use, it might be an internal business app, or something that you actually want to put out in the marketplace. So think to yourself, if you've ever thought to yourself, oh man, I wish I had an app for that, now is the time for you to actually make it real.
Wow. And to think it's only going to get easier as we move on down the line. Crazy, but exciting. My mind is twirling here. I'm like, ooh, What kind of app can I build? Because I would really like to do something like that. I know you also mentioned real-time AI images
Hmm.
in the recent update. Tell us more about that one.
Yeah, image creation with AI is constantly accelerating and changing. And I may have mentioned this on your last the last time I was on your show, but the real time image updates through CREA, CREA. Uh, if you look that up, if you Google CREA, they have a button where you can click on real time. So literally, as you type the word, the image is appearing on your screen. There's
Right.
no delay. So that's a huge advancement in image creation. But tools like Midjourney, they're on version 7 now. They have just like the quality of the images has just increased by leaps and bounds. In Midjourney, you can actually create short videos from images. These are high resolution quality. Grok, Grok. Now and that's made by Twitter, which is now X, but they have a new feature that they just released where you can upload one of your photos, say from your camera roll on your phone, and it will convert it into a short video. So we were playing around with that with some of our old family photos,
I was
and
about to say, is that the one you used to send me
yeah.
those? I felt like they were a little creepy videos, but
Yeah, well, so AI draws information that isn't quite there. So we had that one photo of the kids when they were little, and we were at the grocery store, and they were sitting in the cart, and then it took that photo and it animated it so that the cart was moving through the grocery store, and the wheel was turning, and the kids were laughing. And the reason it feels creepy is because it doesn't 100% look like our kids when they start
right,
moving, right? And
right,
any little now, if someone didn't know our kids and they saw that video, they might it might not look as creepy to them. They might think, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But we see our kids every day, and we know if any little millimeter is off in their smile or in their eyes or their nose, then that's really creepy. So
yeah.
yeah,
I was like,
AI.
that does not look like my daughter.
Yeah, so AI videos do have quite a ways to go. But another thing I mentioned in there is Google's VO3, VEO3, which was a major update to in the world of video because now that introduces sound. Your videos can have sound and dialogue if you go to Google VO3, and you can create high quality. You've probably seen some of these on social media because people are doing really interesting things with them. But the latest trend is, have you seen the baby interviews?
Yes, those kind of creep me out too, though, a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
But they're funny. They're
They're
cute
funny.
too.
They're
They're
funny. They're
funny,
genius.
cute, and
I think it
creepy.
was a great use of AI, which is already AI videos to me are more creepy when you try to do real stuff than if
Mm,
you do something where people know this isn't real. Like
right,
putting a
right,
microphone in front of a newborn baby and interviewing them about what their life is going to be like. Well, we obviously know that that's not real. So now we just have fun with it. So I actually think that that's one of the more practical use cases of AI video. And if you can find a way to use that in your business in a way where like you're not trying to pass it off as a real video, then I
right.
think that could be interesting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. And that's another way to, I guess, it's always nice to kind of poke fun at stuff too, I guess a bit. I know that I need to create some ads and I would like them to definitely have movement and motion. Of course, I have video of things that we make, but I want to get in and play around with what it looks like when I put AI behind it to power it and see if it actually still looks cool or if it goes crazy or it looks crazy to me, I should say.
Yeah. Well, I did that in one of my previous book updates. This was around when AI video first started coming out with Sora. I said, "Hey, create a Super Bowl ad for Zeus's Closet." Did I show
Mhm.
you that? And it
Yeah,
came
I
up. I
remember that.
had ChatGPT come up with the concept first because it already knows about Zeus's Closet. So I told Chat, "Hey, come up with a concept for a Super Bowl ad, and then write the prompt for the ad that I can then put into Sora, or that I can then put into Google's VO3." So it actually had this guy on campus wearing his varsity jacket, and it had an elaborate embroidery on the back, and all like this crowd of people and girls were around him, and I was like, oh, that was a pretty cool concept for an ad because it understands our business, and it created it in just a matter of seconds.
Hmm.
Now there were things off in the video. People, there might have been people with 8 fingers or something at the time.
Yeah.
So it has a long way to go, but I think that anyone who's in business, like see what AI would think about creating a Super Bowl ad for your business and see what it comes up with, because it might just be an eye opener for you and give you some ideas of something that you can then go have a prototype, but then maybe you can go make it in real life with real actors.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea. I think the great thing about AI is the time savings. It helps me, even though like I might have an idea and it's a pretty good idea, I think, but just being able to drop it in AI and getting some additional thought around it, that time savings is just amazing.
Yes.
And that is like what I love about it so much. So I know that ChatGPT 5 is now out, and you will be updating the book after you kind of dive more into that. But I know you've been in it now for what, maybe 4 or 5 days, something like
Yeah,
that.
it just came out.
What have you found that's unique or different about that, or that you're finding interesting?
Well, first of all, you just mentioned the speed and like having ChatGPT or your favorite LLM be your thought partner, which I think everyone should do. Like I always have it open somewhere, or if I'm driving in my car, I'll talk to it. Well, ChatGPT 5 is so much faster than the previous versions. I mean, the speed has really blown me away, and that impresses me more than anything else. I think, to be honest, there was so much hype around ChatGPT 5, and people thought that it was going to be super intelligence, or AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which was going to be like this massive leap forward. So if your expectations were that high, then it actually did not meet those expectations. It feels like a bit of an incremental update for me, someone who's already a power user. It is faster and it is better. But the real strength in ChatGPT 5 is the vibe coding. So using it to create applications, like if you're not comfortable with software development, you have an idea, get in there and play with it there, because that's where they've made the biggest leap in improvement with ChatGPT 5.
So I know you use so many AI tools, but I know sometimes you may tell me like, oh, go put that in Perplexity. And then I know there's Claude and there's ChatGPT. I'm kind of a loyal person, so it's like I jumped onto Chat, and so everything I do in Chat for the most part. But why do you pick something over another when you're doing research or the
Yeah.
variety of things that you do?
I'm glad you brought that up, because Perplexity, I have gone to for research because they were the first to like really cite sources, and it doesn't give you many hallucinations. So Perplexity doesn't just make up things, whereas ChatGPT, I'm sure we've all experienced where it will just completely make up some crap that is not true at all. And the term hallucinations has been adopted in the world of AI for when that happens. Perplexity historically has had the fewest number of hallucinations, and they actually give you sources for the data that it's providing. Now, with that said, supposedly ChatGPT 5 now has 45% fewer hallucinations than the previous versions. And if it can't answer a question, it will just admit it instead of trying to make something up. So
Well, that's
that,
good.
yeah, that's funny, and that stat actually comes from OpenAI, so they know that the hallucinations are a problem. So I now that ChatGPT 5 has been out for a little while, I'll start comparing 5 to Perplexity and see what kind of results, because Perplexity is also making constant improvements, just like all of these LLMs. Claude is always improving. So we're in this race, and we get to benefit as the consumer because these different companies are in a race to always be the best. So you have OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT. You have Grok. You have Claude. You have Perplexity. I mean, there's so many LLMs, probably some you haven't even heard about,
Oh, I'm
that
sure.
are, and they're always trying to do different benchmarks and be the fastest and be the best. I still think that ChatGPT right now is still, if you had to choose one to be your daily driver, ChatGPT 5 is still the best model all around.
Got it. Yeah, I was just curious about that. Do Perplexity and Claude have a paid version as well? Because I've
Oh yeah.
only used them on the free versions for those
Hmm.
two.
And they all have like a $20 a month version,
Okay.
and then a bigger version as well that gives you more tokens, more usage credits, things like that. I have found that as of right now, Claude is very limited. I have the paid version of Claude too, the $20 a month version, but I hit limits faster. Like they
Okay.
told me after like 5 searches, I ran. They were like, "Oh, you ran out of credits for this month." I'm like, "What?" So that
Hmm.
means it's more expensive because you have to pay for more or wait. So compared to ChatGPT, especially with the newest update with ChatGPT 5, it has gotten a lot more affordable as well. And if you're doing advanced things like creating agents or workflows and you're tapping into the API, that side has also gotten a lot cheaper. So this is a big leap forward in that regard for anybody who's doing a little bit more advanced development.
I must not be using chat as much as you by any means because I don't think I've ever had it say I've run out of credits
No,
or
Claude did that.
Claude did that. Yeah, and I heard that, but chat is it just endless use for the $20 a month?
Oh, so chat, it depends on which model you were using.
Okay.
But if you're on the $20 a month version, you do have limited uses of agent mode. You have
Okay.
limited deep research compared to the pro version, the $200 a month version. You get
Oh, got it.
a
Okay,
lot
yeah, I'm
more.
not paying that.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that. Maybe that's what makes me loyal too, because I'm like, I'm only paying $20 a month for one of these. I am not paying for multiple ones. But I know this is your business. This is your jam. You love it. And so I know you pay for all of the stuff so you can learn and know what's happening in the world of AI. So we appreciate you for that though, because
Yeah.
you come on and tell us all the good stuff. Is there anything else we should know about as we move towards the end of this year, which is crazy to me? It's about to be September before we know it, headed into the last quarter of the year. But is there anything else we should keep in mind or know about as we move forward with any of the platforms?
Well, keep an eye on because it always changes so fast. So what I suggest people do is subscribe to podcasts about AI so that you're always getting the latest updates. Some of my favorite ones are like AI Explored or This Week in AI, things like that. Subscribe to newsletters about AI. Go onto the websites and check them out. Like, see what the new features are. Ask ChatGPT, like, what are your latest features? So ask AI about AI. But do your best to stay on top of it so that you can then ask AI, well, how could I apply this to my business? Your At this point, your LLM should be customized to understand you and to know about you because it has the memory of all of your chats. If you're using ChatGPT, it can now look across all of your chat history as additional context for every answer. It can also look in your custom instructions, so you need to have those fleshed out. We went over that on a previous episode. It looks at your stored memories. So if you go into your settings, you'll see everything that it has stored as a memory about you. And you want to go in there and clean that up sometimes because sometimes it will be inaccurate. Let's say if you were doing like temporarily looking up something, you don't want it to store that as a permanent memory about you. So go and clean up your memory. But the more it knows about you, then the better it can serve you. So ask AI, well, with your latest updates, what would benefit me the most right now in my business with everything that you know about me?
Yeah. I think that to me was the best thing in your book is just getting everything initially set up. So if someone hasn't taken the time to do that, well, one, I would definitely suggest grabbing Ethan's book, but it literally walks you through how to set up the custom instructions. So your chat is truly yours. Like I call my chat chat.
Hmm.
He and I, he, she, it, we have a relationship, okay? And it's one of my cheerleaders, when I put something in there, it's like, good idea, Monica. I don't know. It makes me feel good. I love it.
Right.
But no, I appreciate you coming on and keeping us updated. I know you have many other calls and things today, but I wanted to have you back on because I know you did just do the latest update and you'll have to come back and tell us more about ChatGPT 5 as you explore more and as you learn other things out there in the AI world. So don't be a stranger.
Yes, for sure. Thanks for having me back on. It's always good to be here.
Thanks for coming.